All right, all right, all right. Carnivore Soldier coming at you from Austin, Texas. Welcome to another Hump Day Meetup. So glad you're here, guys. We've made it another week, and we're well into 2023. I'm sorry, 2024, and we're coming up on the Ketocon pretty soon. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. Next week, I actually have the CEO of Ketocon, Robin Switzer, is going to be joining us on this weekly stream. So make sure you put it on the calendar. Don't miss next week. It's going to be great. We'll be able to ask questions about Ketocon. I'm going to bring up some of the information about Ketocon tonight. Time to get excited, man, because we're going to meet a lot of people there and listen to some good stuff. Okay, tonight we have another great guest of mine, Dave Saunier. Most of you know him. He's a great dude. He's a Navy veteran. He's been on my Mission Carnivore. He's been a moderator. He's always in the chats. D. Saunier, you've met him before. I'm bringing him on right here. Dave, what's up, man?
Hey, Larry. Hi, everybody. How's everybody? I hope y'all are having a good week.
Yeah, I sure am. My week's been pretty good. What's the weather like down there in Louisiana?
Oh, it's typical South Louisiana 50-50 kind of stuff. Like one day it's cold. Well, cold for South Louisiana, but it's been cool. It's been warming up though. It's like I haven't worn any kind of a thick coat for weeks now. Maybe a light jacket here and there in the morning, but the afternoons have been great. 60s and 60s kind of weather.
Yeah, this morning I get up early and I go to the gym on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So this morning I got up and it was like in the 40s, but it got up to 77 today, right? So I wore a jacket when I went to the gym, got my workout in. My workouts have just been epic. I don't know about your workouts. You just got back from a ride. How was the ride today, man? How you feeling energy-wise?
Oh, I feel fine. I mean, I had a big, for some reason this morning I was hungry. So I ate about 8 eggs and 3 strips of bacon. And then I was good. And then around noon, I said, I'm going to go riding. I think I ate at about 9:30, maybe 10. And then around noon, I hit the road. I logged, I don't know, a little 50 miles or so. And it was really windy. But I felt great. Had a big bottle of water with me. Got back home. I was hungry. I probably didn't really need to eat, but I kind of wanted to eat. I don't know. I just was in the mood for some beef, so I warmed up some ground meat and another couple of big glasses of sparkling water. But yeah, that's all I ate today, and I had a good day. I feel great.
So and this is what I did. I woke up. I didn't eat anything. I went to the gym. I went early because I had work to do, and then I had an inspection with my business too. So I just got up early, hit the gym, and I tell you what, working out in a fasted state is amazing. I've never felt better in a workout. And then, which I never would have dreamed, because I always had the pre-workout food and snacks, and then during workout I would drink water with like honey and lemon sometimes, and then the post-workout recovery, you had to have the recovery shake, right?
Yeah.
And today I did my workout, then I worked, and then I went and did an inspection. I didn't eat until 1 p.m. And what I ate was raw eggs. I ate a half a dozen raw eggs with half a cup of heavy whipping cream in the blender with salt and I have this little bit of this grass-fed protein powder that's really pure. It's really clean. All it is whey protein from grass-fed. So I put that in there, and it's got a little vanilla flavor in it. So the only it's got 2 ingredients, or maybe 3 in the whole protein powder. And one's the natural flavor, which is the vanilla flavor. So that's the only thing I had. So that's pretty clean. And I had that as my meal. So it's called transparent. What's that?
I'm kind of tempted to try that. It actually sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's just a change. Well, listen, I've been doing the eggs. I've been doing a dozen a day. So I'm doing 2 shakes a day. And then I'm eating beef in between. So I'll do shakes. The first meal will be a shake. Then I'll eat like a half a pound or 3/4 pound of beef ground, just fry it up and then eat that. And then in the evening, if I get hungry again, I'll do another shake, and I'll do 4 to 6 more eggs with that protein powder. The protein powder I get is called Transparent. It's 100% grass-fed whey. I mean, it's, whey is is like a milk protein, so it's not the best for you, but it's not that much. It's a small component of that shake. The shake is mostly eggs and some heavy whipping cream. And but I'm losing weight. I'm putting muscle on, and not losing weight. I'm losing waist, I should say. My waist size is going down. I'm not losing weight. I'm about the same weight, but I'm losing fat is what I'm doing. We're doing this. Everyone's body is going to be different, but for me, this is really working well. So I'm going to stick to it for a little while longer and see. And my workouts are great, so I'm just going to see how it goes. If I can just tune my diet, and then I'll probably switch up. I'll get bored of it after a while, I'm sure, but for the last few weeks, that's what I've been doing. And it's been great for me.
Man, when you talk about losing waist, I haven't worn because now it's starting to kick into spring. I started wearing shorts again, and I had some shorts from last year that fit me pretty good, even though I was losing weight, but I've lost a lot more weight since then.
Yeah.
I had them on. There's some 511, the 511, the 511 brand. They're basically shorts, kind of I'll call them tactical shorts. They've got multiple pocket storage. But anyway, I like those shorts just for day-to-day wear. But I put a pair on. They're a size large. And my wife was behind me, and she was like, "Oh, no, Dave. I'm going to buy you some shorts because that looks ridiculous." They're just sagging in the back because they have. And I grabbed the material, and I'm like, okay, I have to agree. I'm like, I don't think I'll be wearing these much because they look pretty ridiculous on me. So I told her, well, maybe you might have to buy me like a couple of pairs of shorts, because she works for a clothing retailer. So she's always out looking for clothes for me, so.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's good that you get her to do that for you. I have to do my own because I'm single, but that's just life. But it's okay. It's and it's a good problem to have to buy new clothes. I'm having to buy new shorts. I just bought these like 4 weeks ago. Now they're all loose on me. These shorts I have.
Oh, really?
I can't wear them without since I've been on this egg thing, I can't, and with the protein powder too, I can't wear them without a belt. Because if I do, they'll fall off my ass. If I put a wallet in and a keys, they're coming down. So they're just loose.
That's like the 511 shorts. They have a little bit of an elastic in them, which is why they do okay. But I have some other shorts that are like they're just regular khaki shorts, call them dad shorts, but those things will fall. If I don't put a belt, they will literally fall to the ground. Matter of fact, I have 2 pairs of jeans right now that if I just stand and wiggle a little bit, they fall to the ground. So Rochelle has bought me 3 or 4 pairs of jeans over the past few months, and she's about to pick up a couple of pairs of shorts for me. I said, look, just get 2 pairs because I don't know how much more I'm going to lose in my waist, but don't go crazy with the shorts.
I made a mistake and bought 6 pairs, and now I got 6 pairs that don't really fit well. So I'm not doing that again. That's not going to happen. But I really like the shorts. Like, oh, I like these, and odds are, because I went from 38 in the summer to 36 like by September.
Yeah.
And now these are loose on me, so I'm probably getting close to 35 to 34 now. And I think I'll even out around a 34, maybe 33. Which is great. I mean, that's a great waist for 6'3".
Yeah.
I mean, that's and so anyway, I'm pretty happy with it. My progression is continuing, but now, like I said, I'm basically cutting my body fat down. Like you're ahead of me on that. Your body fat's great. I'm cutting my body fat down and get my cardio levels higher and my workout. And I'm doing it through sprints. I'm not doing distance. I'm doing sprints, but I can tell my recovery time between sprints is much better now. I do a sprint and I'll be completely gassed and my heart rate will be 170, 172. And then before that song is over, because I sprint at the beginning of the song. So before the 2-minute song's over, 2.5 minutes, then I'm back down to 138 or 1, and I'm like, okay, ready to go again. Next song. And I'm sprinting each song is what I'm doing. And it's fantastic. Where before I'd have to wait, I've had to get my heart rate down below 145. It just drops below 145 now. Really quick.
I was doing sprints today. Like I do sprints on my bike a lot. Like today, I did a normal ride, but the last 5 miles, the last 5 miles to my house, I incorporated sprints. I got on there, just cranked it out until for about 30 seconds of just all out sprint, and then I just coasted and pedaled, normal pedal till my heart rate came back down. When it gets down to about 140, I would take off again. Probably did about 5 like that, over the last couple of miles. And yeah, it was great, man. I
Do you
love
track your heart rate when you do that? Do you check your heart rate? See how your highs and your lows and all that? What's your highs when you're sprinting?
Anywhere from about, it kind of depends, but like about 180-ish. My max heart rate is probably about 186. I've had it measured.
Okay.
And my max heart rate's about 186, 187.
Wow,
But
that's
when I
pretty high.
when I do these sprints, it'll get close to 178, 175 to 180-ish, and then I'm like, okay, that's good, 30 seconds, and I'll crank it down. Something about heart rate, I did not know this, but everyone's max heart rate is it's hereditary, it's genetics, and there are, just because you have a high heart rate has nothing to do with really how athletic you are, or because there are some top form athletes that have lower heart rates, but they can just, and your heart rate decreases over time the older you get.
Right.
You make whatever you start out with, by the time you're in your 60s, it's going down 20%.
I'm happy to get mine up to the 170s, like 174, 170. I got it to 176 the other day. That was the highest I've seen it. And then, when I get back down below 145, though, I'm ready to go again. And it's dropping quick now. It just drops right back down. So I know I'm getting in better shape.
And that's the main reason I monitor my heart rate when I'm riding, is because I like to, I want to keep a consistent zone 2 pace. So I usually keep my heart rate in between 142, 143, and 150, which is for me is in that sweet spot for zone 2, which is where you get all that mitochondrial repair and the heart strengthening, and you're really utilizing body fat stores. Apparently, I'm just judging this on everything I've read from
and everything that Dr. What's his name? The spring doctor. Gosh, I forget. But So, well, today we're going to kind of talk about some articles I have here. So I have one from, let's see. Oh yeah, this is from USA Today, which is pretty worthless news, but it's they're really not a great news organization, but we'll add it because it's about the carnivore diet, and it's kind of interesting. And as you can see, it says, actually, that's the wrong one. I shared the wrong one. Let me stop that. That's a different article. So stop screen, present, share screen. There it is. Okay. Oh, I did. Oh, stop sharing. Let's see. It's supposed to be the, I see which one it is. Okay. Let me do this one. Share screen. Oh, it's a viral TikTok. Yeah, this is it. So this is, they call it a viral diet, right? So it's a virus. We're going to catch it now. We need to get an inoculation. Get us they're going to have to come up, Pfizer got to come up with a new shot to keep us from getting this virus. The viral diet, carnivore lion diet called life-changing online, but is eating only meat really good for you? And of course, they ask a
nutritionist.
A nutritionist, yeah. And the nutritionist, of course, is going to say it's terrible, right? The senior dietitian at the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. So if she is a dietitian at a medical center, then she is doing the standard of care, right? She's not really varying from that at all. Although she does say some things that's good. She says it's detrimental to our microbiome, to our heart health, to our brains. I would challenge her. I'd like, please show me the studies that say that. I would love to see it. And then here you can tell she's not an English major, because she says, I can't even say badly enough about it. I don't know what that means. Like, I can't believe they put that in there. Like, I can't even say badly enough about it. That's like some broken English there. But she does say that, she says carnivore proponents claim eating only meat can alleviate issues like obesity, true, acne, true, eczema, true, psoriasis, true, inflammation, true, and even autoimmune conditions, true. I know for a fact because I've had a lot of those, and I know many people that had the same thing. Same with you, Dave. I know you've had a lot of issues that were obesity, and I don't know if you had eczema or psoriasis or anything, or inflammation. For sure, you had. I had some eczema, I think, on my elbows where it get really dry patches. They're gone. I mean, so I assume that was eczema, but very mild. But she suspects. So she says the diet is dangerous.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
That's when the flags go up. Anytime you say diet is dangerous, it's
and like, then she suspects its apparent benefits are misrepresented. So that's what she suspects, and she says, like, straight up, it's dangerous. I can't. I mean, I've been over a year. You've been over a year now. Yeah. And if it's dangerous, then we shouldn't be standing here talking right now.
Yeah, she probably needs to spend some time with that 80-year-old rancher up in the Northwest U.S.
Yeah, Maggie.
Yeah.
82, man. I think she's 83 now.
Yeah, maybe she's northwest, out in West Canada somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah, she's in Canada for sure. So I'm gonna hide this. So yeah, she basically this article says the carnivore diet tag has amassed 645 million views on TikTok. That's good news, people. We're making progress. That is fantastic. It's gone viral over the last 2 months, and this was in January, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only way it's the only way this whole paradigm is gonna have to shift is from the bottom up. This whole revolution, it's not gonna come from the federal government redoing the food pyramid or completely going 180 on their dietary recommendations. They're not it's going to have to come from the bottom, pushing it all the way up to the top.
This is where it's fake too. It's like, despite the benefits touted by its adherents, an all meat diet lacks fiber, which is critical for digestion and gut health. Well, I can tell you what, I've been fiber free for over a whole year now. My gut health and digestion's never been. I digest almost everything I eat. Never been better. Never. So that's a flat out lie right there.
I mean, same here. I mean, I have basically I've had 0 grams of fiber for, a year and a couple of months, or about a year and 2 months now. And I have absolutely great bowel movements, man. It's like,
I know, right?
Yeah. It's like, and they're short, and like, hey, I'm out of there in a few minutes and I'm done for a couple of days.
I found a YouTube. Yeah, me too. I found and every couple of days is fine. I do even sometimes 3 or 4 days because I'm eating, especially eating egg yolks. I'm eating a lot of eggs. So and that's like liquid, right? But I can tell you, I found a YouTube video on constipation, and it was a non-carnivore doctor, just regular doctor that knows her stuff, obviously, because she said the top 5 foods to alleviate constipation, right? So I'm like, oh, this will be interesting. The top 5 foods to alleviate constipation. Most doctors would be saying something like fiber. They'd be saying something like, eat rice or all this stuff, right? So most people, but her top 5 as a non-carnivore doctor were really good. Number 1 was butter, because of butyric acid. That's exactly what I use for mine, right?
A lot of butter.
I think number 2 was berries, which I don't eat, which is fine. You don't have to eat berries. But if you were going to eat fruit, berries are probably the best fruit to eat, right? If you were going to go down that road, I think they are the lowest glycemic load and everything. And they do. So anyway, next thing was seafood. And the seafood, because the minerals in the seafood. So if you eat butter on shrimp or butter on fish, that's really good for fixing constipation. Then there was figs. And then the last one, I can't remember what the last one is, but it's not, there's nothing in there about grains and fiber, nothing for constipation. So if you have constipation, it's not a fiber issue. In fact, if you look that up, there is no study that proves that fiber helps constipation. In fact, adding fiber to a constipated digestive system is like adding cars to a traffic jam and expecting it to go faster. All fiber does is increase the bulk. It does not make it move faster. So if you need a bigger constipation, larger, then add fiber. If you are constipated, which means your poops are hard and small and like pellets or balls, then you need to add butter, maybe eat some seafood, or add fats until it softens up. What do you do, Dave?
I mean, I eat a lot of butter. I eat, butter, meat, and I do eat a little bit of seafood, like around here, crawfish and shrimp. Matter of fact, Sunday, we're having a big shrimp boil, a shrimp and crawfish boil. So
Nice.
I'm going to be getting a lot of minerals that day.
That's right. That's right.
There's only been one, from listening to Dr. Chafee and Dr. Baker, there's only been one real study on 3 groups of constipated people.
Right.
And I read I had downloaded the study, and basically no group did well on high fiber. They all basically were completely relieved of constipation when they were on 0 grams of fiber. And
that's the NIH study from that NIH study. It had 42 people or something, right, that did the 0 fiber, and they had all their constipation went away, 100% of them.
Yeah, the group that was the group that that when they fed them a high fiber diet, they got worse, and then when they shifted that same group to 0 fiber, they cleared everything up. And then they would, they kept going back and forth with the different groups, and I was like, how is this study, like, it's a major study, but everybody just keeps jumping on the high fiber bandwagon. I don't get that. There's no other study that's been done on fiber except that one that's been actually published from what it sounds like. Right.
Yeah, there are none. There's just guidelines, and the guidelines were just made up out of a recommendation. It had nothing to do with science. If you look here, who are the carnivores? This talks about Michaela Peterson. It says, turn to an all-meat diet, not as part of the social media trend, but out of desperation. We all know Michaela Peterson. If you don't, she had some major problems with inflammation and her body reacting to vegetables, basically, where she had to get a knee replacement and an ankle replacement, I think, and or maybe a hip replacement. I can't remember. She had some major surgeries though as a juvenile, as a teenager. So she had rheumatoid arthritis, which racked her body with severe pain and swelling most of her life. And it says Peterson plans to return to eating vegetables if she gets a handle on her autoimmune flare-ups, and thinks her diet is unnecessary for most people. I've never heard her say that. I've heard her say she tried to go back to vegetables and had to go back to meat. I've never heard her say that she thinks it's unnecessary for most people. I don't know where that comes from. Maybe she has said that.
Yeah,
but I don't think. Listen to her talk about it. I can't imagine she'd say that after all these people are getting healed on it.
Right. Right.
I can't ever imagine going back. So in the last year, a couple times I've made keto food for my son. And I've tasted it to make sure I've cooked right. It tastes good. You can't just serve stuff without tasting it. One was a casserole that had some cauliflower in it. It's really cooked down though. It's baked, and it's like a cheesy green chili casserole, kind of like it tastes like a chicken enchilada casserole. It's got chicken in there and cheese and a lot of good fats. And then it has some cauliflower in there. So I tasted that and I ate some because it was good. I was like, man, that tastes pretty good. So I ate a little bit. I had gas for sure. Like the next day, I had reaction to that, even though it was just cauliflower. It was pretty clean. And then the other time was I made a pumpkin spice soup, which actually had. He loves that. It has a lot of animal fats, no vegetable oils. It has sausage in it. It's spicy. I put some poblano peppers in there and jalapeno in there for him, so it's good. And it does have some pumpkin like pie filling stuff, like the canned pumpkin, I guess it is. Yeah. I don't know. You put that in there. So it does taste, and it tastes good. I had some of that. And again, I had gas. So, I never have gas from just eating meat, never have problems. But as soon as I introduce any plants, my body automatically reacts negatively. So I don't know about you. Have you tried any plants at all when you're on your carnivore?
Yeah. What happened, I'll tell you something. Last week we had I'm in the Wounded Warrior program. And last week we had this big get together at Top Golf, and it was all, big spread of food, a big buffet table. You could order anything you wanted on the menu and all the golf you could play out there, which was kind of fun. Now the buffet table had a lot of stuff I wasn't going to eat because it was set up for like Tex-Mex. So I did see a big giant pan of beef fajitas and chicken. And I said, all right, I'm going to try this. Well, I could see in the pan, there was like, I could see like cooked down onions, you know, but I just grabbed a couple of big spoonfuls, and there was some sour cream. I said, okay, it's a little bit of sour cream. I don't know what the ingredients were, but I said, you know, okay, it's sour cream. Okay, I can, you know, take a chance. But I'm sure the next morning I could tell something was way off. You know, it's just that everything seems to be running perfectly. The slightest addition of something that's not what you normally eat, like vegetable oil,
Right.
I know there had to have been some vegetable oil in that fajita, because the next morning I just felt really bloated and really off. And
Yeah.
and I know there was also some onions in there, and I did probably take in some bits of onion in that whole mess. But I mean, you know, I did predominantly eat just meat and some dairy, which I don't have a big issue with dairy. I mean, it's an animal product too, but it was it was still pretty yummy, you know. But I know there was some vegetable oil in there, just judging by it the next day. But I mean,
Yeah.
I did it, you know. I said, all right, you know, I only do these once a month, and normally it's not like that anyway, you know. So we normally don't have a big meal at our meetings.
Right. Richard Williams in the house. That's cool. So here it says, why do carnivores say they've seen benefits? I mean, it's kind of, you know, implies that we're lying or something, right? Why would we say we're getting benefits?
Yeah, I mean, why would I mean, what would make me think that I actually lost, you know, 7 inches?
Yeah. Well, she says, and this is the same thing we say about people on vegan diet. People have seen initial improvement upon starting the diet because the process of going carnivore, they likely stopped eating foods of negative reactions, such as you know, potato chips, sugars, popcorn, candy, seed oils, processed oils. She says, which, you know, that's true. That's true. But then she says, instead of depriving the body of nutrient-rich vegetables, she says, let's do a standard elimination diet. Involves taking out most common food triggers like corn, soy, eggs, dairy, alcohol, white sugar. So brown sugar is fine, just not white sugar. And honey's fine, right? And white flour. So wheat flour is fine. And then listen to this. And then reintroduce them gradually, one at a time. That's like the biggest waste of time. And that's like, I mean, that's not even keto. If you just did that, that's not even a real elimination diet. That's like you're looking for one thing that might be wrong, right? It doesn't even make sense what she's proposing. So she has like very little, in my estimation, she has very little. I guess she doesn't have street cred. I can't really trust what she's saying when she does recommend journaling. Now I recommend this journaling of keep track of how your body, but I recommend doing it on the carnivore diet, right? Yeah. It's Tony Morris, man. Hey, Tony, 6-month carnivore today, coming from Westminster, Maryland. Nice. Welcome, Tony. Congratulations. 6 months means you are a full carnivore, 100%. Yeah. Now you can just start honing your skill and driving on. If you're doing it right, you won't even have any sweet cravings or anything. You're just gonna continue you know, getting your diet like dialed in at 6 months. I remember at 6 months I just felt like, okay, I know what I'm doing now. Yeah, that's what I felt like.
I call it like just going cruise control, man.
Carnivore Zen. Yeah. She said she's seen people have tremendous crazy results using an elimination diet, like avoiding surgeries, getting past all kinds of ailments. But that's the diet she's recommending. I mean, this diet is like that on steroids. Those are like half-step diets. There's really no reason you can't just go full carnivore and get way better results. I mean, it's just crazy that she doesn't.
You know, to me, if she was worth her salt, what she would do is she would consult with carnivore experts that are MDs, like you know, some of the big heavy players in the car, and talk to other MDs and say, okay, explain to me why you're saying that this carnivore diet does this. Why is saturated fat so much better than canola oil and sunflower oil and soybean oil? What exactly is wrong with people that want to substitute saturated fat with vegetable oils. And then, like, what is it in plants that's so unnutritious?
Yeah.
There's plenty of biochemistry available to show that the human body absorbs very little, metabolizes very little of the nutrients that's in a plant to begin with, especially the leafy parts.
Yeah. And it's even got the wrong kind of fats, like the wrong kind of omega-6, right, that we can't use. So, I mean, the bad kind, right?
Well, yeah, I mean,
and the wrong kind of phytoestrogens that we can't, so basically it's like a testosterone replacement or a hormone replacement with something we can't use. So we get deficient in all our hormones because we're not going to generate them because our body thinks something's there, but it can't use it.
Yeah. I mean, I just wish, she seems to not know enough about the carnivore diet where she could reach out to other experts, where she could at least say, all right, let me hear it, instead of like going by what Michaela Peterson said or other carnivores. Just, talk to the experts in the medical field that are on carnivore and promote it and find out why,
So it says here, despite warnings from the medical community, carnivores want research done on their diet, particularly on the effects of autoimmunity. That's great. That's true. And then she says, to her credit, if a study could put a potentially dangerous social media trend to rest, it might be worth it. I would like to see some studies done before it gets recommended on TikTok and people start doing it. That's the only way we really know. Not true. The only way you really know is to try it yourself. And I'm certainly open. She says, I'm certainly open to being proven wrong, which is great.
Well, she definitely followed Dr. Nick Norowitz and Feldman, because they've got a giant long-term study in the works right now, and they've got baselines that are excellent,
Well, she does say this. She's certainly open to being proven wrong, which happens in nutrition health all the time. So that's good. If we get more people with that attitude, but like you said, she's not really looking, right? She's just taking she's doing some lazy research, and not even research. She's just watching YouTube videos with Dr. Peterson. You read some of the studies like you and I have, and you'd figure it out like, oh, okay, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Or talk to professionals.
I actually talked to Bart K months ago. I was able to talk to him on the phone.
Nice.
We Skyped together. He was nice enough to give me an hour of his time. And that was when I kind of first started carnivore. I probably had been doing carnivore for 4 months. So I pounded him with questions. Matter of fact, we talked a little bit about my story. And then I asked him quite a few questions. And I mean, I found it extremely beneficial. And, I know other doctors, like I know Dr. Chafee has consults that you can do with him and do one-on-one. But I did enjoy that hour with Bart K, and I found it pretty invaluable, where he pretty much let my mind rest at ease about you need. That was around the time when I stressed, like, the body has a zero requirement. There's for carbs, like your body has, what's the minimum amount of carbs the body needs? 0. He parked that over, and then also when he explained the Randall cycle, there's a really good video on him explaining the Randall cycle for people that just eat meat and people that just eat a plant-based diet. And he explained and you can see how the Randall cycle works. If you only eat plants, like he said, either way will work. Unfortunately for vegans, it'll only work for a short time, because by eating plants only, you're going to initially run out of nutrients, and your body's
B12 and
But that's why he said, on the carnivore side, it just goes for infinity. You're taking in plenty of nutrients, and your body cycles fine by just eating saturated fat and protein. That was where I had most of my questions for, because there were some little details that I needed to have explained at the time. And I found that whole thing fascinating.
Well, here's another one from the fall, from October of 2023. The Carnivore Diet Meal Plan Safety and Benefits. And this is not terrible. Zero carbohydrate diet, an extreme version of the keto diet. I wouldn't say it's extreme. It's just another version of it, right?
Yeah.
It's just the cleanest version of the keto diet. Anyway, this does talk about They, this person has clients who've expressed interest of the carnivore diet because they're seeing people talking about it, right? So people have questions. I'm like, wow, this is pretty amazing. I wonder if this is real, like I did. And it talks about what you can eat. Let's see. If you're looking to increase your protein intake, the carnivore diet will do that. It should not. Your protein intake should be about the same on a carnivore diet as it is on a standard American diet. It should be about the same. Unless you're a vegan, then it'll be higher probably. The only thing it changes is you don't have sugar. Instead, you have fats. That's all that changes, really. And
when we're talking about our protein needs as well, for a while, I was I don't like tracking macros. I don't do it anymore, but there was a period where I was like making sure, do I get enough protein? I've got to. Like I weigh, my ideal weight, my target weight should be probably about 170. I'm a little bit over that right now, like about 173. I'm actually a little weight, but I'm taking in over 170 grams of protein, which is plenty. And I forget I forget the amount of fat I'm taking in, but I'm getting plenty of protein, far more protein than I normally was getting in prior to doing this. Just a pound of ground meat and 8 eggs, a couple of strips of bacon, 3 or 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm well over 170. And that's plenty of protein. I don't even track it anymore because I know, like, on the day I eat the minimum amount, which is that type day where I have like 6 eggs, a couple of strips of bacon, and a pound of ground meat. That's the minimum I'm eating, and I know I'm getting enough. So I'm not even worried about it. Plus, I guess if you weren't, you might feel it, but like the only thing I really have problems with is electrolytes. Like I tend to forget to bring, like today, all I brought was water. And I really worked kind of hard. It was a short ride, but I was really pushing myself. So when I got back home, I actually felt like, oh man, I'm kind of zonked from the electrolytes. So I was drinking sparkling water, but I kept dumping Redmond salt in it.
Yeah, it helps. It helps, especially if you're doing a lot more exercise than a lot of people are, even more than I am. I'm working out a couple times a week and doing some sprints. You're doing a lot more than I am.
Yeah, well, and I've cut my rides down. I've cut my rides down quite a bit. Like I feel like this past few months, I'm getting some really good 50 to 60 mile workouts because I'm able to put a lot more punch into the ride. And for some reason, I just want to get home. I want to do my ride and get home. And when you're doing 80 to 105, 110 mile rides, that's a big chunk of your day.
That's a commitment. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is. And like I'm retired. I'm fully retired now, so I mean, technically, I have all the time in the world to do that. But there's other things I do want to do. I do some volunteer work and things like that. So, I cut my rides down, but I'm still doing 4 or 5 times a week, 50 to 60 mile rides, and occasionally I'll do a long ride with a group of friends that like to do these long rides, and I'll do them, not like I was doing like the past 2 or 3 years. So
Jason's going to share here. He says he loves carnivore. He adds some peppers from time to time. They don't seem to bother me. That's fine.
Like a garnish.
It's a person to person thing, and we were talking about that. Like they do. If I eat them, I pay a price. I do like them though. I gotta be honest. Every now and then I will. I don't go out and just keep peppers in my house and stuff, but like when I make something for my son, I'll eat a little bit, and it's nice, But the thing is, when I make food with it, I know that's clean. It's got no seed oils. It's got nothing. It is 100% animal based with a little bit of plant in there that I put in, so I know exactly what went in.
Now,
so that's the difference. Now, Jason, how long you been carnivore? Why don't you share that with us? Because that's and what's your results been? So I think everyone's got their own results, and that's your like receipts, right? So I think Dave's got his receipts. I got my receipts. We're full on carnivores doing well. And once you've been carnivore for a while, you can reintroduce things like that. But even though I reintroduce things, it may be a one-off. It's not like I'm going to eat that every week. I would never do that. But I have tried it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Jason, I have a friend too. He's carnivore, and he will dice up like a little bit of jalapeno pepper and add it into his meat. And it's like it's just a garnish. It's adding a trivial amount
It is trivial. If that's your whole exposure to vegetables, you're
Yeah.
pretty good. That's super clean.
Yeah.
Some people like Michaela Peterson could not do that. So it depends on the individual. Like if if she had a bite of that, she'd get sick. So I mean, it just depends. But you'll never know unless you remove all that stuff first, and then you can try adding things in. So that's the beauty of it.
One food that I have noticed recently that I think I may cut way back on, like, is cheese. I've noticed that when I eat like 4 or 5 slices of cheese, say like 3 or 4 slices of cheese with a meal, I notice the next day, like, my stomach seems a little odd, or I might have some gas or something.
Yeah.
Because the past 2 or 3 days I've had no cheese and everything's been perfect. So I'm thinking, hey, maybe the cheese has an effect. I love cheese,
Yeah. I get some gas from dairy a little bit. It's a very little gas, not like I used to. Not like it used to. I used to have bad gas.
Yeah.
So Jason says he reversed type 2 diabetes. Fantastic. Off all meds. Fantastic. No blood pressure meds. See, that's it. That's exactly what we're talking about, Jason. If you've done the work and got your body to a position where it's then doing a little bit of that, it's not going to affect you at all. But if you were just starting out, it was like week 1, I would say, no, you need to cut all that out until you get your body healed up and figure out what causes what on your body. Because, we just, you just don't know at that point, but you're a full carnivore. Once you go 6 months, I think that's when you could start trying, like, tasting something to see what you'll know immediately. Like Dave and I are saying, you'll know immediately the next day or that day even that something went wrong. Something shouldn't be there in your diet. Your body will talk to you.
Something funny happened the other day. I was kind of excited. I have an X account, formerly known as Twitter, and I follow Nina Teicholz and like Dr. Berry, and she was posting something about the new Diabetes Association where the lady was, it was a ridiculous promotion for type 2 diabetic recommendations, which was basically all carbs. And
yeah, it's ridiculous. I saw that.
Nina Teicholz had basically posted something about it, and she was getting like somebody just came on and said, look, type 2 diabetes is not reversible, blah, 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 blah. And I actually I responded to him and I said, look, when someone is obese and they lose all the weight and are no longer obese, we don't call them obese. And in somebody's type 2 diabetic, it means that they're insulin resistant. Now, if they change their diet and they become insulin sensitive, they're no longer insulin resistant, so they're not type 2 diabetics. I got a thumbs up from Dr. Berry and Dr. Diamond. Nice. I was so excited.
That's the thing. I mean, it's just logic, but the thing is, what they want, the medical community seems to want to say that it's not reversible, that it's not their fault. So there's a shot for that. There's those MPIC or whatever. There's
off camera for just 1 second.
Go ahead, man.
Man, I need to.
So Jeep 44 XHI, 50 days in, 24 pounds down. Man, you are on the road. So I like to break my carnivore journey down to 3 sections in the beginning. Your 30, 60, 90 days. And if you look on my channel, you'll find some videos what to expect your first 30, 60, and 90 days. I think on those days, that's kind of like your freshman, sophomore, and then upper class, junior, senior year, right? And that's when you really get. So you're like in your sophomore right now, about to get into your upperclassman transition. And then after you get over 100 days, up to 6 months, I think you've really hit your stride and your carnivore diet as well.
Wow.
All right, we got Charmaine from Alberta, Canada, and she does blueberries. She's ketovore, and that's pretty clean. Just a lot of us, like, I can't do blueberries because I'm a sugar addict, and I would recommend, if you haven't tried it without berries, try that just to eliminate all berries and just for a couple weeks. And this is not medical advice, just it's just my experience. But if you can go 2 weeks without any sweeteners, and then try to reintroduce them, or maybe 3 weeks, your cravings will go away. For me, I had cravings. So if anyone else is watching this is doing carnivore, not ketovore, then don't, you need to remove all sweeteners if you're on carnivore, because for one thing, sweeteners do elicit a insulin spike. Now, blueberries for sure do, because they have fructose in them, right? And fructose is the cause of fatty liver disease. So if you're obese, like I was, and you're struggling with sugar addiction, like I was, so you have cravings all the time, you're always hungry, you're always snacking, then you remove all that stuff. Some people are moderators and they can eat just a few blueberries. That's fine. And, it's not going to hurt them. And berries are probably the safest fruit to eat, I think. But it's not really carnivore. But if you're doing ketovore, like my son, he eats apples. Every now and then he'll have like a slice of an apple, or a couple slices. I slice up half an apple for him, and he eats some berries, but he doesn't really like berries. But I think berries are better than like apples, and definitely not grapes. Grapes are pretty bad for you. So what do you think, Dave, about berries and such?
Yeah, I mean, if you can handle, I mean, if it's not going to trip your brain into going going back into carbs real heavy. But I like 3 times I've made homemade ice cream.
Yeah.
Using basically just heavy whipping cream, and a little bit of half and half. And I forget the ingredient, but I mean, I didn't add any artificial sweeteners at all.
You put egg in it? Egg yolk?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, egg yolk. Yeah,
that's what I put in mine.
Except the artificial, I didn't put artificial sweeteners, and I didn't put any vanilla. I just made it ice cream, basically.
Yeah.
And the first time I made it, I sprinkled some blueberries on top of the ice cream and ate it with some blueberries, just a little bit. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. Sweet enough for me, because I mean, I don't eat any sugar anymore. So just the heavy cream to me, and that little bit of that sweet. The next day, I had plenty left over, because I had one of those big hand crank ice cream makers. I had plenty left over. So the next day, I ate it just by it. I was just like, "Ooh, I'm gonna have some." I think it was actually like my breakfast. It was probably like 10 in the morning. I got like a big mug of it, and I didn't put anything in it. And I was like, "Man, this is good, just like it is." And the rest of that batch of ice cream over the next couple of days, I ate with nothing on it, like not even blueberries. And I enjoyed it. Matter of fact, what I did one time was I got 3 or 4 tablespoons of dark roast coffee that I had made, and I just spooned in 3 or 4 spoons of just dark roast coffee, not with any sugar. Just gave it that mocha flavor, I guess, that coffee. Yeah. That was pretty good too. And then 2 other times I've made ice cream in smaller batches but I didn't use any fruit in it. But I mean, if you can get by eating a little bit of blueberry, I mean, it's not. It's still kind of a trivial amount, if it's something that you enjoy, I mean, enjoy it.
As long as you're getting your results that you want, right? And
as long as it doesn't switch you over into like, oh man, the next day I had 5. I ate a whole pint of blueberries, and the next day I bought, strawberries and bananas. And I mean,
that's if you ever watch Old Guy Carnivore, that's his issue, is he would get blueberries and eat the whole bag.
Yeah,
like a day,
I'm the same. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that would be me too. So Marty Mack says, I've done N = 1 of several things. My only thing that's non-issue for me is red onion. So N = 1 is when you experiment on yourself, which is highly recommended on this diet. I actually intended to experiment with many more things in my diet than I actually did. Because once I eliminated it all out, I thought, well, I went in with the attitude of, well, first let me try this for a month, right? That was my first thing. And then I went, I'm going to do another month. And then I started cutting more stuff out. And I said, I'm going to cut this and that, dairy. I'm not going to eat snack with cheese or anything. So I cut a lot of snacks out, and I finally really stopped eating bacon as a snack. I stopped snacking kind of. And then I was always planning I'm going to add stuff back in and see how it affects me. And I never did, because I didn't miss it. And that's what's interesting to me, that I didn't miss it and I thought I would. So now I have reintroduced certain things. Like I did burgers the other night, and I put some dehydrated onions on them just for a little flavor. And it was good. And I didn't have any results, negative results from that. I don't know if I'm going to always do it, but every now and then, just to change things up. I also got some Redmond's has seasoned salts. So I got a couple seasoned salts. I got one that was a steak seasoning, kind of like a Montreal steak seasoning. I put some of that on burgers and I tasted it with just that. And I didn't want to add that and the onion because I want to make sure I know what's causing effects. That didn't cause effects either. But I don't put it on every time. It's just every now and then I'll throw a little bit on. And like you said, Dave, it's such a small amount that it's probably not really affecting my diet. I mean, I'm not seeing any negative results. One thing to be aware of, though, is when you're using seasonings, they're the most toxic laden parts of the plant. And that's why they are so strong that you only have to add a little bit to a recipe to get the flavor.
Yeah.
They are the most toxic. So they have highly concentrated toxins. So if you are allergic to a seasoning, so when people ask, well, what's wrong with adding seasoning? Well, seasonings are plant-based and they are the strongest plant-based toxins. So you're actually putting a concentrated toxin into your food. So this is why they recommend just salt and not even pepper, because the oxalates are really strong in pepper, much more so than like regular in vegetables and such. So anyway, so when you do seasonings, you know, do them with care. Try to get clean seasonings. That's why I went with Redmond's, because I know it's pretty clean.
Yeah.
And anyway, so that's all I got to say on that. But yeah, N equals 1. This is something where you experiment on yourself. And I recommend everyone do this. You become the expert for you. I can't tell you what your body's going to do at all, right? Jeep 44 High says, I go through a pound of bacon every 4 to 5 days. Is that too much? Not to me, because when I started, I was doing a pound of bacon a day. I would fry up a pound of bacon and eat that as snacks around my meals. But I was pretty heavy too. I was 280 pounds. I was definitely out of shape. Let me
You know, the only problem that I've kind of learned about bacon is when you look at the back of it, you know, you use, I mean, unless you're buying it without sugar or curing, they use sugar in the curing. Now, when you eat two or three slices, I forget what they call a serving, but they usually call a serving like maybe 2 slices or 3 slices, maybe. But they'll say 0 grams because it's technically not enough to be 1 gram, so they list it as 0. But if you would eat, like, say, 8 slices of bacon, you might be pulling in 2 grams of sugar, you know? So, I mean, you might want to be careful about overloading, like eating excessive amounts, because you may be taking in some sugars, but it's still not a lot, you know?
yeah, and I did it, and that was my bridge to getting off snacking, right? So that was a healthy bridge. And
Yeah.
you can see these are my results in a year, and you know, going from 280 to 233 and adding muscle and losing my belly. The shorts on the left were 44.
Yeah.
And they're tight. I mean, now it's really probably 45, 46. And I'm just and look, no belt. The shorts on the right.
Like, yeah, you got that Dunlap disease going on. And
I did. And you can tell by my belly button. Look how it changed.
I know.
It's like all around here and it's like flat.
Man,
and then this side was this was a 40. That was a 30. That's a 33, 34 short. So yeah.
You can, and you show, there was another pic where you show your face, you know, and
oh yeah, where I was totally swollen.
Dude, I got a picture of me like right when I started Carnivore, like January of 2023, or might have been might have been December 2022. But my face is very round in that photo.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I saw a recent photo, and I was like, man, I can't believe how much I lost in my face. You know, it's just incredible.
Right.
But yeah, you got some great. That was some great before and afters. I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have taken some before and afters.
Yeah, I took that was day 1. The first one was day 1.
Yeah,
day 1, man. That was like was so that I love that I have that, and I'm so glad I did it. I didn't want to because I didn't like myself. I really didn't.
I mean, I have a lot of respect for the. There's a couple of YouTubers that I know of that have done that. You know, Ellie.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember the name of her channel, but Nutrition Redacted, or
yeah.
Okay. And Kat on
Kat.
Oh shoot, what's that?
Yeah, Katerina. She's on what is it? Gosh, I can't remember it. Yeah, I know. I'll think of it.
She's had a good, like they showed their, hey, this is me starting. They did all the measurements, and every few weeks they'd have an update. And it's like, man, I have a lot of respect for people that do that, because one, it gives them that goal to keep moving, you know, and
meat fueled living.
You're really, yeah, meat fueled
She's
living.
a meat fueled living. Yeah.
It's a great name for the channel.
Yeah.
When she was putting out regular updates on her weight loss and her measure, I found it kind of fascinating. And one, that somebody would want to put themselves out there like that. But it inspires a lot of people, like, you know, people that are in the same predicament where they're really overweight, they don't know what else to do, and they see the stages of her shrinking down, you know, and it's like, okay, hey, it motivates.
I just hope, and the only reason I have a YouTube channel is for that, is to connect with other people and say, listen, there is hope. Because I was hopeless. I did not have hope, man. I was not planning for a future. Like I said, I was just like riding out my life, you know, on a downward slope. And now I have hope. I have a future. I'm planning. Everything's changed. And
I was obese when a few months before I started keto and then carnivore. I was obese. I was 5'8" and about 216. I was labeled as obese in my. Yeah. I looked in my. I'm like, obese. I'm like, yeah. I'm not obese, but I mean, but I had that big belly.
I saw it. You had the belly coming out. That's all visceral fat too, man.
Everything else looked pretty good, but the belly, man, it was just big. And I mean,
in your face.
Yeah, in my face, you know, but yeah, I mean, I was obese. I mean, I just didn't want to admit it, I guess, because I'd never been obese before. But to see that on my chart, you know, my like obese, man, it hit hard, man. I'm like, okay, I got to do something. And I cranked up the miles on my bike, did some extra walking. I was tracking calories, right? Which I was just walking around starving, and that doesn't work. And I would go starving for a week, and then I'd gorge on something, you know, like, and then, you know, I kept cycling. I'd go up and down. My weight would go up and down, and it was just a mess. And then I went keto. I said, look, I know keto works. I've done that before. You did the same thing. You talked about going keto.
Yeah.
I did that too. And
you're just managing your addiction, which is you're still fighting. You're fighting your addiction. And this is the only way to manage it, is to get rid of it.
Yeah, I had a hard time with keto too. Not that hard, but I was finding the difficulty is I was still taking in carbs, like some fruits, some vegetables, and man, that just drove my appetite, that desire.
So I mean, you can do that for a while, but once you fall off, you just go way off. Because you're already eating that. You're like, well, you know, I'll just cheat for a day or whatever it is. Or I'm just going to cheat. You know, I'm going to have this pie or whatever, and then it's just gone. Like, you just go completely insane. And for me, anyway, I can't do that. So, but I didn't know that I could do this. That's the thing. So I thought, I had no clue. And then the other thing was, I was trying to eat healthy. So this is something I used to eat, and I used to think it was healthy. Chick-fil-A sandwich. Here's the 55 ingredients in a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
I know. I saw
it. Is the worst food you can pretty much put in your body. And I used to feed it to my son and myself, thinking, well, we're not going to eat McDonald's. That's bad for you. I'm going to eat some healthy food. So I'm going to Chick-fil-A. Can you believe that?
John, carnivore teacher, it looked like he had uploaded a video addressing this, but then he took it down. I don't know. Maybe he didn't like something about it. I don't know. But I saw that on his channel. At least I thought, I'm almost positive it was. And I meant to watch it, you know, and then I saw somebody else on Twitter or X posted that too on one of these carnivore posters on X, you know. But yeah, that's crazy.
Marnie Mac tracked calories for years. Yeah, it was calories in, calories out is a losing proposition, 100%. Yeah, and it's also fake news. It's not even real. I mean, it's what they're pushing, they're selling right now. On top of having fake health food out there, even our junk food in America is much worse than, like, say, in Europe. If you look at this, the German version of Fruit Loops versus the U.S. version. In Kellogg's in the U.S., they add soybean, cottonseed oil, hydrogenated coconut oil, red dye number 40, yellow dye number 5, blue dye number 1. They don't do that over in Europe. They can't.
Wow.
So the people in Europe, even if they're on a Western diet, it's a healthier diet than ours, even when they eat just this, because we are getting, and this is not just Kellogg's Fruit Loops. You can look up ketchup, Doritos, look up the European versus the U.S. version. we are being fed garbage,
Yeah.
and it is, I believe it is deliberate. And this is Kellogg. So these are the guys that are Seventh-day Adventists, right? They're pushing their vegan agenda, and they are trying to, control our sexual urges. And it sounds crazy, but it's true. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't looked this up. But if you don't believe it, go watch Fat, a documentary, and it talks about the origins of the Kellogg foods. And it is straight up. And these guys actually fund the medical schools too, right? So they're putting out dietary guidelines, and the FDA is funded by these guys. So the FDA lets them put all this garbage in ours, but it's illegal to put it in other countries. So not that Kellogg's on either side is healthy. The German version is not a healthy food, but it's far less detrimental, I'd say, less poisonous than ours is. This is what we feed our kids. It's terrible.
A few years ago, I don't know if they still do this, but in Japan, there were no artificial sweeteners allowed in their diet drinks except for stevia. So if you got a diet over there in Japan, when you ordered like a Diet Coke, it was just stevia as the artificial, but it tasted like crap. I actually bought one, and I remember taking a swig out of it. I'm like, nope. I don't know what it was, but it just did not taste very good. It had that very strong metallic back flavor or something. I don't know. It was terrible. But I had asked, is there any other? Then somebody just told me, no, they don't allow, aspartame and.
Well, aspartame's carcinogen. I mean, a lot of places don't allow that. I don't think they allow it in Europe either. I'm pretty sure it's America. It's another thing. I think they're getting us sick and keeping us sick. FDA and all the cohorts that fund the FDA, the companies, and then the drug companies are, funding their medicines. They're going to make us better, like Ozempic and cancer treatments and all these things to keep us going. It's all about money. So Jeep 44 XHI says, thoughts on electrolytes. I'm using Keto Chow when I need it. If you're going to use a company's electrolytes like Keto Chow, use the unflavored, unsweetened ones. That's the first thought. They have Redmond is probably cheaper. Redmond has electrolytes too. So that's what I used when I did some. I didn't use it much. I used a little bit just to see what it was like. And make sure you use the unsweetened, probably unflavored, just a regular. But I just use salt and magnesium. That's really all I needed. And I drink mineral water. So our ancestors drank mineral water and stream water and pond water. And that's where they got their minerals from. And they also ate blood. So they got a lot of minerals in their meal and their drinking water. We have to add salt and stuff because we're drinking this purified water that's got nothing in it. So drink some mineral water, add some salt, and take magnesium occasionally. That's all I do. What about you, Dave? What do you do? I know you're adding salt to your sparkling water. Is your sparkling water mineral water? It is, right?
Just regular sparkling water.
Okay.
No flavor. Because I got out of that whole natural.
Yeah. But is it mineral water? Is it coming from a spring? Is it mineral water? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting either some like San Pellegrino or regular carbonated water, which is not the same, but one of the grocery stores sells unflavored sparkling water, but it's basically probably city water with some carbon dioxide in it. I mean, it's still, I like that bubbly.
The bubbly.
But
I get either this 1877 in Texas, which is the Texas spring
San
water.
Pellegrino is, to me, is one of the good ones because it's naturally effervescent. It comes out of the ground carbonated.
Topo Chico is good too. I used to drink Topo Chico a lot, and that's a Mexican one, but that's another spring water.
But I do like during the summer, especially, I would take 2 bottles with me. One would just be regular water, and the other bottle would be my water with the electrolytes in it. But I don't put any. I was using one that had a little bit of stevia in it, but then I kind of got away from that months ago, and I just carry some water with unsweetened and unflavored electrolytes. So basically, it's just pretty salty water, But I will take a few big hits of that and then wash it down with some regular water. And like today, today I made the mistake of not bringing electrolytes because I said, oh, it's cool outside. It's going to be an easy ride. I'm just bringing water. And I felt that when I got home. So I was dumping in some Redmond salt because I didn't have any electrolytes with me. But that actually is good too. I have gone on some rides where I've just added a couple of big tablespoons of Redmond salt to a big bottle of water, kept that on my bike with another bottle of regular water. And that seems to do the trick. I'm not too crazy about that salty flavor, you know.
Yeah.
So I will take a few big swigs of that, but I wash it. Then I'll follow it with some regular drinking water. It just, I don't know. I feel like I feel better doing that. You know, I don't know. I don't get that really good feeling of drinking salty water.
Right. So this is a picture of me in March. It was like March 13th last year, and this is me now. This is
Wow.
me. The one on the left is December.
Yeah, you're like
A couple weeks ago. So
man,
like totally.
you're marriage material, man.
Yeah. Now I am. But anyway, so that, we're talking about my face picture. That's what we're talking about right there.
Yeah.
Do we work out every day? No. And in fact, when I did carnivore for the first 9 months, I worked out very little. I did some sprints, like talking once a month. I lifted bands, maybe, exercise bands at home every now and then, like a couple times a week. And that was it. And I would talk about 10-minute workouts, and I walked my dog, and I lost the majority of my weight doing that, just walking my dog and lifting with some bands every now and then. In December, like December 9th, I joined a gym and started lifting. And now I work out 3 days a week, maybe 4. How about you, Dave? How often do you work out?
Okay, well, I'm a cyclist. I work out on my bike like 4 days a week, sometimes one more, but all of my workouts are really on the bike. Now I do some push-ups just to get some upper body. I don't really work out with weights anymore. I mean, I used to for many years, but I just kind of got away from that. But I kind of would like to get one of those X3s and give that a shot. But
I have that. It's great. It is really good. That got me to the strength point where I wanted to lift weights. It got me into.
I'm 62 years old.
Yeah.
I'm a little leery about doing a lot of heavy weight work because I'm a little leery about hurting my back or something.
Yep.
I probably won't. I don't, but I tend to want to be kind of a little bit careful about weights. So.
Well, the bands take all the stress off your joints. So
yeah.
You never overload your joints, which my problem was that. And now I got to the point where my strength's good, my joints are good. Now I'm lifting weights again. And I enjoy weightlifting because I've done it so long in my life. But I was afraid to but now I'm totally back into it, but I still do use the bands. So I found an X3 system online used, and I recommend you look for that. You can find them or get them on sale. They're not cheap. There's also an alternative to it, aftermarket kind of thing with the platform and the bands, and you can get that on Amazon. I have a link on my page. It's half price. CarnivoreSoldier.com has a link, and that's from what I understand, it's a pretty good platform. I have not used it. But I wanted to put it there because I didn't want price to be a barrier,
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I do work out quite a bit, I guess, technically. I mean, I do ride my bike quite a bit. And on some days when I can't ride, I started getting into doing the sprints too. I really love doing those sprints, man.
Oh, it's fun, man. My ankle still gives me problems, but I do like it. Yeah.
There's an infamous little hill near my house where a lot of cyclists like to set these bike records on how fast they can get up the hill. It's not a particularly big hill, but I started doing my sprints because it's like maybe 2 miles from my house. I will drive out to the bottom of that hill and park, on the side of the road. There's a neighborhood I can park, and I'll sprint up the hill, and then walk back down. And like you remember, you had a video of Shark where you were doing push-ups at the bottom,
Yeah.
I was doing just the sprint up the hill, walk down, and I would do like 6 to 8 reps of that. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a great workout.
Yeah, it is. And
I'm like you. I do miss working out with weights. My son is he's getting to be a competitive power lifter right now. He's in the Air Force, so he's got plenty of time to work out, of course. So
right.
But man, he's deadlifting like over 5 right now. I mean, he's deadlifting like some serious weights and squatting some serious pounds. So I when I see him working out, I'm like, man, I want to work out too. I kind of miss those days, you know, but uh, I don't really have to, like, so I'm not doing it.
Yeah, yeah. So I was going to talk about crossing the Rubicon. And this is for people who aren't carnivore yet or haven't taken the full plunge in. So if you don't know, the Rubicon is a river in Italy, and Julius Caesar was a general, and he was told to keep his army on one side of the Rubicon. He was not allowed to bring his army into Rome. To do so would have been civil war, basically. And that's what he did. He crossed the Rubicon. And his famous quote, I believe, was something like, with this, I cast the die, or he's going to cast the die and let it roll, whatever it is. And he went in and conquered and became the ruler, and became the Caesar, the Julius Caesar that ruled Rome. So crossing the Rubicon really in today's language means passing a point of no return, making a decision to change something. The guy in the middle on this picture you see in the green sweatshirt, I had to cross the Rubicon to get to the left and the right. You know, that's what I had to do. And if you haven't made your decision yet, I recommend, look that up. Google crossing the Rubicon, read the history, make a decision to cross your Rubicon, to change your body, to change your mental health, your life, your whole trajectory of your life. I mean, when he crossed the Rubicon, he changed the whole career of the Roman Empire. He changed everything and history. Everyone knows who Julius Caesar is now. Now, the guy got stabbed by the Senate, so that wasn't great, but
I was kind of similar, like at my house. I did something similar, kind of like you talking about burning your, you land
burn ships,
burn your ship, so there's no going back. I tossed so much stuff out the fridge, out of my pantry. I'm like, nope. And but yeah,
that's what it takes. You got to actually make the decision, clean your. When I made the decision, the guy in the green sweatshirt in the middle emptied out my cabinets, threw away all the garbage or donated it, dumped the seed oils out, donated the real food, or the not even real food, but the standard American diet food like mac and cheese and stuff. I donated all that because it is survival food, and poor people eat it. They need something to eat, and so I donated all that stuff. Next week we have the Ketocon CEO Robin Switzer will be a guest on this show. So set it in your calendar, show up. We're going to be Q&A with the CEO of Ketocon. And just in case you guys don't know about Ketocon, it's got some great people speaking, and it's coming up soon.
I've got a great question for her. I grew up on a farm, and my dad was raised cattle. Every year there's a Cattlemen Association's convention, right? And I've been meaning to ask her, you guys need to put out some presentations on the carnivore diet and how popular it is getting at these conventions, because like every time you go to these conventions, they're all in a fluster. Like, no one's eating beef. How do we get people to eat beef?
They don't know how to do it. Yeah. We could help them with that, right?
Like, dude, like I actually emailed the president, the person that put together the Cattlemen's Association. Like, Ben, do you know how many people are carnivore now? It's like, you guys are missing this opportunity at your conventions to help promote this carnivore thing and to bring in people to present material about how they're getting people to eat more meat. And there's a partnership that can be done there that it's to me, it's an opportunity wasted.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I see a lot of carnivores in here, man.
The Cattlemen's Association met in Florida this summer, or the end of the summer, and I was looking at their guest speakers, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, who? I mean,
they're nobody, right?
It was like a bunch of nobodies, and of course, they had some great entertainment. Like they had the typical country western entertainers at night, for their, but whatever. But their presenters were, just some biologists and some animal husbandry experts and things like that. I'm like, man, they could have had like a couple of carnivore doctors there presenting some information on how they're pushing this diet and promoting it. Give them a glimmer of hope.
Right?
Because man, they are fighting the government. They are fighting the the vegan crowd, and they're constantly on the defense, not on the offense. So I feel bad for the cattleman industry, the cattle industry, you know, as a whole. But
yeah, we need to really support them. I mean, for sure, because that's, you know, we can't allow big corporations to take over all that stuff, or we're never going to have good quality meat again.
yeah.
So Carnivore Scott. Now, Carnivore Scott was a state, I think, representative. Were you senator or representative? I can't remember. He was a state politician though, so he's probably got a lot of connections in his state with different organizations like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said when I was in office, those are the best events. Yeah, he was a senator, so a lot of respect for that. I mean, no, that's, you know, I would not want to be a state politician. I have respect for the guys that do the job well. Of course, the ones that don't, I don't have respect for, because there's some people that just, you know, 2% of any industry are going to be dirt bags. And but most people seem to be, you know, in Texas anyway, a lot of these guys are doing what they believe is right. And, you know, I respect them, and they're trying to keep the state on the tracks. But anyway, so I respect that Scott did that. I could never be a politician. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I would just be telling people the way I feel, like, hey, I don't care. You know, I'd be like crossing Rubicon every day, cast a die, and just let people, you know, I'd be telling this is the way it is, man. I don't know. So anyway, looks like we've been on for an hour and 15 minutes. I think we'll just cut this one off, but I appreciate you showing up, Dave. It was nice talking to you, and good to see you again. I'm looking forward to seeing you at Ketocon.
Man, I'm excited about going there.
I mean, look, Dr. Wiedemann's gonna be there too. I love her, man. She's great. And she's the eye doctor, right? And then they got Maria Emmert's gonna be there. If you don't know her, she's up here. She's really good. A lot of recipes and a lot of she does a protein sparing bread and all that stuff.
That's gonna be some great. I heard that there is a great
Judy Cho.
I just found out yesterday that there is some family or company that has a small farm, and they have this giant table of barbecued brisket, all kinds of meats, like pretty much for the taking. Like, it is like they have tons of it
at the Ketocon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
I was watching somebody talking on. Oh, actually, it was Christy was interviewing somebody last night on her channel who goes to Ketocon like a lot. She's been there a few times, and she talked about a particular meat display out there that she said that's like the place to be. So I was like, yeah, that's gonna be good, you know.
All right. Oh, The Biggest Loser, the lady from The Biggest Loser.
Yes.
From season 3. Yeah, that's what Scott's on it. On it. Season 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard about that. Yeah.
I started crying like a little girl in the presence of Chafee. You're gonna have to slap me, man.
Yeah, we're gonna have, and you know, Carrie from Homestead House is gonna be there. He's filming Chafee's contribution to the documentary while he's there. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And Christy says she's gonna be there. Meeting wellness.
Carnivore Teacher's gonna be there.
I think Kat's gonna be going too. From what
I'm hoping she is. We've never really met in person. But it's gonna be great. Yeah.
I think Nia's going to be there.
Nia's going to be there. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So we're going to have a lot of people to talk to. It's going to be so fun.
I see you, Scott.
Yeah. Man crush.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to drop you out, and I'm going to say goodbye, David. I'll stick around. We'll talk for a few afterwards, right? All right, y'all. This has been a great Wednesday meetup. Love these things. Love when you guys stop by. I really appreciate you. Appreciate your viewership. If you're watching this later, feel free to comment down below. Let me know where you watched from and what you think of it. And anyway, we'll see you next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is the CEO of Ketocon will be on. So Robin Schwartz will be on. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll be able to ask her questions about Ketocon. She'll be able to tell us what to be excited for. And if you all want tickets, I do have a $50 discount code. You can either use HYH50, which is Hack Your Health 50, or you can use Carnivore Soldier. I don't get anything for it. It's not like I'm getting any credit or anything. It's just going to save you $50 on the weekend ticket. So if you want to check that out, go to the Hack Your Health website. You can just Google it, get your tickets, and we'll see you there. All right. All I got to say is stay strong and overcome. Carnivore Soldier out.